Loose Women live. It's Charlene White, Kelly Brook, Judy Love and Brenda Edwards.
Hello and welcome to your first Loose Women of the Week and of February. We made it, guys! January was like 150 days long, but we made it. Coming up on today's show, we have two Hollywood stars. Rumah Willis is going to be with us, revealing how Mum and Dad, Bruce and Demi, were the perfect inspiration. Now she's a parent, and her reaction to her mum's Oscar nomination. And are you ready for another adventure with a certain Ms. Jones?
Everything all right, Mrs. Darcy?
Oh, my God.
Hiya.
I've climbed a magical man tree.
Hello.
Yeah, Bridget Jones is back, and we are celebrating the woman who created her. Helen Fielding is with us. Hey, Helen! Now, you've inspired our Judy today, Helen. She's really attached to those big pants. Yeah, she's got a pair on at the moment. She absolutely adores them. We'll be doing more Bridget Jones fun at 10 past. Oh, OK, Judy. You're really celebrating those big pants. There'll be more of that at 10 past 1. And we've got an important chat about grief. How open should you be with your children about loss? That's something I've been navigating recently after losing my best friend. So lots to talk about here. But first, before all of that, it was a big night at the Grammys for Beyoncé, who finally won Album of the Year for Cowboy Carter. Did you know that she's been up for that award 4 times before and hasn't won it? But there's been some controversy overnight. Will Smith was on stage to pay tribute to record producer Quincy Jones. He produced the star's breakthrough role in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in the 90s. Now, it's the first time that Will was at an awards ceremony since he slapped Chris Rock on stage 3 years ago. I'm sure many of you remember watching that. Judy, do you think it's time to forgive Will?
It's a hard thing, isn't it? Because forgiveness is always a good thing, and I can see the connection why they used him to present the award, especially with the work that he's done with Quincy Jones. But I think the main question should be asked is how does Chris Rock feel about this? Has he got to a stage of forgiveness and healing over what happened? You know, as a stand-up comedian and as a host, for that incident to take place and then continue performing is unreal. And I think it's about what these two men have discussed off camera, and if he has forgiven him and if Will Smith has, you know, extended that apology in some other way. I think it'd be interesting to see that, actually, to see that first manifest out on TV or in an interview, or what they both learned about themselves, or what they felt that they'd done wrong for this situation to escalate. Because let's be real about what we saw. We saw someone physically, like, slap someone, assault someone live, globally. So I think it's really about Chris Rock and how he feels more than anybody else's personal opinion.
Yeah. What do you think of it? I mean, you lived in that sort of LA bubble type environment. I mean, what do you reckon to him being allowed back onto the stage?
I mean, first of all, I am such a big Will Smith fan, I mean, of his work, and he's been around for so long. He makes people a lot of money, let's be honest. He's got an album coming out. I know the Oscars have banned him for like 10 years or something. It was probably the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen on television in my whole life. But we are flawed people. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm not sure. I think he's come out and apologised. But I think I agree with you. I think it's a case of really it's down to Chris Rock to kind of say that he's at peace with it and, you know, they've made amends. But, gosh, wasn't it just the most outrageous thing you've ever seen?
It was, and I think, you know, some people have argued today that it just wasn't the time, that in terms of the gravitas of the original situation, as you say, Judy, it was physical assault. But then we also perhaps have to understand that forgiveness should come into this. What do you think, Bea?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that Judy and Kelly have said. You know, you can't... It was an uncomfortable thing to watch, and I don't condone the violence side of that, you know, but I do also... I kind of feel for Jada, who was sat in the audience, and she was the butt of a joke that she was going through an illness of alopecia, and I just don't think that it's nice for anybody to make fun of somebody in that way. not saying that he was warranted to do what he did, but
you're saying there's context to what
there is
he did.
context, you know,
So
sticking up for
therefore,
his
do you
wife
think
and...
he should have been up on that stage last night
I think
presenting?
with regards to being up on the stage, again, I agree with what Judy says. I know why they put him there, and maybe that was them trying to ease him back into other things.
Well, as Kelly said, he's got an album out
in an
this year.
There is that,
Yeah.
you know, but it's not... it's never acceptable to do that in a public foreground. But if you're going to ban him from one major Oscars, then maybe he should be banned from...
Well, we did do a
too.
poll to ask whether or not you feel as though he should be forgiven and if we should move on. And I think it's 56% say yes, we should forgive. So looks like that album will be doing very well this year. OK, speaking of award shows, the movie Wicked is in the running for 10 Oscars next month. Now, the film's success has led to a spike in interest for the original stage show, which many of you will know is currently running in London's West End and has been for a very long time. But there is a catch. Stick with me. The stage show tells the whole story, whereas the film is split into 2 parts, and part 2 isn't out until this November. The first film only covers up to the interval in the stage show, so as a result, and I'm not kidding you, people are leaving at the interval. So the end isn't ruined for them before they see the final film. I mean, I think we all know what happens in The Wizard of Oz, but anyway. Is it ever acceptable to leave a show in the interval? Now, we obviously have a huge stage performer with us on the stage. That would be Brenda, obviously. But Kelly, you have a confession to make.
I do have a confession. Now, I do love going to the theatre, and I've seen many West End shows, musicals, all sorts. But I do need to apologise to Emma Bunton, who invited me to her Christmas show at the Royal Albert Hall. I had a puppy that was 6 months old, and about half an hour into the show...
Half an hour?
I got immense anxiety that this little puppy was going to absolutely wreck my house, eat everything, and I just didn't know what... And I just said to my husband, I said, I'm not enjoying the show. It's nothing to do with Emma. Emma is a fantastic...
Your mind was somewhere else.
My mind was somewhere... I could not relax.
So you lasted, like, 3 songs?
I said, let's just pretend we're going to the bar. And we slipped out and we left the show. We left the show. We went home. The puppy was fine. It was all in my mind. And from that moment on, I said, I cannot. All the time I've got a dog, I cannot go and see a show now.
Really?
It has to be a matinee when the dog's out on a walk with the dog walker.
Can I ask you, where was your seats? Because that's what's really important. Was your seats...
Oh, we had the best seats.
Wow.
It was terrible.
Do you want to apologise to Emma again?
Emma, I would love to come back and watch your show again if you would kindly
Oh my God,
invite me
she's
again.
so never inviting you again.
She's never invite me again. I know, it was terrible. But the puppy was 6 months, months old.
Puppy's living good. That's what I
But as someone who's on the stage frequently, who's very well known for your incredible performance in Chicago, is anyone left at the interval in Chicago?
But nobody leaves Chicago. They don't leave Chicago. Chicago is... They stay until the band is finished and people are still there, you know, enjoying it. It's not one of those...
So have you ever left someone else's show?
I did once. I went to watch a show with a friend.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was really looking forward to seeing this show. And then we were watching the show, and one of the main actresses, she started off Caucasian, and then she went to bed, literally, in the show, and woke up and she was black. And... There was a lovely little girl that was in the front seat, and she was like, "Mummy, why has she changed colour?" And it just didn't just make it make sense.
So the colourblind casting is what that was.
It just needed to make sense for the story.
Stand up and walk out?
I left, I left in the interval. So nobody missed me. Nobody missed me. I don't walk in front of people like what Kelly did.
Do you leave other people, very quickly, yes or no, do you leave other people's shows?
No, as a stand-up comedian, it's really difficult. I know what it's like, but, you know, we have the power on the stage as the only person, so I can draw you out if you come late, if you leave early. But so I try to stay in, because I know what that feeling is like.
Did you hear that? She knows what that feeling is like.
For comedy,
Just let you know.
No, that's for comedy.
I didn't know how I was going to feel.
Look, Emma, if you're watching, if you want to invite me, VIP, to your show, I promise I won't leave early. Right. Coming up, an important conversation
this.
about grief. How open should you be with your children about loss? That's something I've been talking about with my kids after losing my best friend, their uncle, recently. We'll be talking about that and our sharing of our advice next.